So why are we here is the question, right? At its most base level, we're here because Baystate, when given an ultimatum by the Trump administration to throw trans kids under the bus or lose funding, chose to throw trans kids under the bus. And we're here as members of the community to make very clear that that is an unacceptable solution to the problem that the Trump administration gave to the hospital. There are two things I want us to kind of hold together in this action, two quotes that apply, and then I'm going to ask Mara to read our statement, and then we'll just sort of see how things are going, okay? Has anybody heard the quote, "Work is love made visible"? So this was work, right? We met, we planned, we organized, we've had meetings, we've found supplies, we've painted, we've built, we've lettered, we've driven, we've shown up, and all of that work represents love for trans children. Because trans children are not expendable. They're beautiful, they are resilient, they are powerful, they are important. And Baystate made a decision that suggests otherwise, and we're here to make very clear to the community that that is not the case from our perspective. This community will not tolerate organizations, companies, or industries that make trans children expendable. They are needed and valued, and we will fight for them so that they can become trans adults. And then when they become trans adults, we will fight with them until we don't have to anymore. Yeah. We're in this for the long haul. Woo-hoo! Second quote, "Action is an antidote to fear. Showing up matters. Letting Baystate know that this community will not tolerate policy that throws trans kids under the bus matters. When we organize and create and build together, we get stronger. We built a bus. We also built community. We got to know each other. And we got stronger doing that. And communities are what build movements, and movements change systems that don't work for them. Any system that throws trans children under the bus does not work for us. Yes?
Yeah.
Any system that throws trans kids under the bus does not work for us.
Yeah.
Can we hold that together? That is why we're here today. So, we have some demands attached to a statement, which I'm going to hand over to Mara. They're going to read. And then I'm going to give people an opportunity to say what's on their minds.
Thank you, Allie. Thank you for the highlighting. And the larger font, I appreciate. We, a gathering of adults concerned with protecting the rights and the care of trans youth, are here today to expose the impact of Baystate Health's indefensible and premature decision to end gender-affirming care for trans youth. We call upon Baystate Health to immediately reverse its decision and restore gender-affirming medical care for transgender minors, to issue a public apology to the families it abandoned, and to affirm its commitment to evidence-based, non-discriminatory care for all patients. We are unified and unwavering in our support for the rights of trans youth to receive the health care they need, and we will not stop exposing injustice and advocating for corrective action until our healthcare system reflects the needs and values of the people in the communities they serve.
Thank you, Maura. So what I would like to do is pass the mic, because this was a collaboration. This was all of us together and people who are not even able to be here today to make this happen. And I would just like to ask you the question, in your busy lives with dozens of things every day pulling on your attention, making you angry, making you want to show up, what made you choose to put your time into this? What in your life mattered enough to you to make this the way you spend your Saturday, to make this the way you spent 2 build days, to make this the Zoom call you showed up on? Why are you here is the question, and you can speak to that question or you can simply pass the mic. No pressure, it's an opportunity, not a demand. We had our demands, Mara covered this. Here you go.
As a trans person, I will always show up to fight for trans rights. As a social worker and a therapist, I support many trans, non-binary teens and kids, and gender-affirming care saves lives. So it's imperative that every medical system that can is providing gender-affirming care.
Can I interrupt for a minute? Does anybody have a chair?
I show up because
gender-affirming care is life-affirming care, and trans children deserve to have life-affirming care.
I show up because a year ago I was at Baystate getting help for being suicidal. We know that gender affirming care is suicide prevention, and I want to know why they would care about my life but not the life of children.
I show up because people's lives are far more important to me than anybody's profit.
I show up because I wonder what Baystate is thinking when they comply in advance to Nazi demands, and we have to say, we're better than that. And yes, we know what people really need. Fuck Nazis.
I show up because as a mental health professional, I work with a lot of young adults for whom gender affirming care could have made a big difference or has made a big difference in their lives as they are moving into adulthood.
I showed up today because I'm transgender. I wasn't able to transition until I was in my 30s, and I wasn't able to transition until I was in my 30s, and I almost didn't make it this far. And the idea that someone would force other kids to go through that same suffering just to protect their pocketbook makes me sick, and we have to do something about it.
I'm a patient at Baystate, and right now I'm ashamed to show up for the care that I need because this organization chose to throw kids under the bus, a vulnerable population that needs them the most right now. We need to see Baystate turn it around.
I was a trans kid, I'm a trans adult, and while I was well supported at home by my family, I was not supported by my community at all. I did not have access to gender affirming care in my community. I did not have access to it either. And to see so many wonderful kids getting access to that here and then having it snatched away is really, really hard on me. And I really want to see that turned around, because all I can see in the trans kids I know now is myself at that age and how much it would have meant to me to have access to the care that they almost have here.
I'm here because healthcare is a human right, and I believe that all trans kids need to get the support that they need to live healthy and happy and fulfilling lives.
I show up for a lot of the reasons that people have already said about healthcare being a human right and a life-threatening issue if you don't get it. And I also show up because when I was a kid, there wasn't any. If there had been, I might be a trans person, but there wasn't any possibility. So I had to come to some other way to make sense out of my life.
I showed up today for many reasons, one of which is I'm a teacher and I work at the alternative schools in Springfield, and I have a lot of gender, non-binary, and trans students that I teach. And it really pisses me off that in Massachusetts, in Western Massachusetts, this can happen. Because if it can happen here, it'll happen everywhere. It already is. So I really feel strongly that we need to stop this. I'm about to get a knee replacement surgery here, and I'm going to tell every single person that I talk to that this is bullshit. I'm just so angry that this would happen in Western Massachusetts, not in our house.
I find it incredibly difficult to turn away when a vulnerable population, most especially children, are being harmed. I felt a need to be here today to raise my voice on their behalf and to stand with you all to call the larger community's attention to this healthcare system taking care away from children.
Let's let's give these folks some time to get here, and then we'll give them the mic. In the meantime, I will share, I'm a non-binary person who carried 2 children, and both of my children were born as a result of care here at Baystate. We went through a lot of fertility treatments to make that happen. And what I didn't realize about Baystate was that while they were 100% committed to bringing my children here, that commitment is not matched or is conditional based upon who my children are. If I have a trans child that Baystate literally helped bring onto the planet, they will not treat that child in the way they need to be treated to be a happy, healthy, whole person. So I want to call upon Baystate to care about more than the embryo, and more than the fetus, and more than the pregnancy, and more than the birth. I think when you bring children into the world, you make a commitment to love them and care for them and meet their needs all through their lives. And I think gender-affirming care is hard stop a part of that. People spoke really beautifully about that here. So I'm grateful to Baystate for helping me bring my children into the world. And I need them to do better for the children that are here now and asking for the care they need.
I guess I'm here because since I've come to live in Northampton, I've been exposed to a much wider range of people than I ever knew in Appleton, Wisconsin. And there probably are trans people there, but we sure didn't know about it. And actually, maybe they didn't either 70 years ago when I was there. But I really care about everybody I've met here, and I want everyone to feel good about who they are and about being cared for as they need.
I'm here because as a kid, I received medical care, but care that was not geared toward what my needs actually were. And I believe that children deserve the medical care that they need, and they don't need to spend their childhoods thinking about this. So I'm happy to do what I can to advocate on their behalf so they can be kids and focus on what children deserve to focus on, which is playing and learning rather than demanding that their needs be met.
Thank you, everybody, for sharing your stories and your truths and what brought you out today. The sustainability of the work ahead relies on us to build community in these ways. So I wasn't kidding when I said we are building community in addition to being part of an ever-building movement. And that movement is going to be a requirement for helping trans kids become trans adults. So I hope you feel good about being here. We've had our sign up for quite a while. It's got some pictures, it's in some pictures. I'm happy about that. I would like everybody to just ground themselves, feet to the ground, comfortable position. I'd like us all to just take a deep breath together. And I want you to be thinking about the people in your life that you're here for. Some of the people in my life that I'm here for are standing right here with me. The ones that are not here with us, the kids that are in classrooms, the kids that are in doctors' offices right now, the kids that need to see and hear and believe that adults see the emergency and are showing up and will keep showing up and are not going to forget and are not going to stop and are not going to make it easy for businesses and hospitals and organizations to throw them under the bus. Hold them in your heart and hold them in your thoughts for just a quick moment of reflection before we move on. Can I get a for the kids? For the kids! Okay, that was our first try, but we're gonna do a whole lot better than that.
May I?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
For the kids!